Hello and welcome to this Affinity Photo iPad tutorial, and this is the beginner's guide part 10, and I just want to have a very quick look at the selection persona. Now, for those of you who are like me and have got PC version or Mac version of Affinity Photo, you will know that there is no selection persona in those two formats. Basically, pretty much a lot of the things that are found in the selection persona on the iPad are found via the select menu. It's just a basic menu in the PC Mac version. Now if I click on the question mark in the bottom right corner, you've got it lists where the personas are. As you can see, the currently highlighted one along the top is the photo persona, and the selection persona is next to that. Now if I click on this persona icon, you will see that the icons down the left side where the tools are will change, as will the command menu here, which at the moment in this persona has got things like duplicate, pasteboard, geometry, things like that. So if I click on this persona icon, as you can see, these icons down the left have changed. And again, if I click on the question mark, you can see that you've got like smart selection tool, freehand selection tool, feather, grow, smooth, and others. And like I said, this commands menu has changed because you now have got select all, deselect, invert selection, and all these other sort of selection options. So I will just quickly come back to the photo persona, because I just want to have a quick look at the layers studio. And at the moment we've got this image which I got from pixabay.com via the stock studio, and as you can see, it is an image layer. Now, one thing I have sort of found is that, and I'm not 100% certain whether it's the same on the PC, but I think it might be, is the fact that you can't make a selection from an image layer. It needs to be a pixel layer. So first of all we need to rasterize this image, but what I will do is I will just quickly duplicate that layer and then hide the bottom one, just so that I've got an original there, just in case something goes wrong. But I'm not anticipating anything going wrong, but it is just a precaution. So I'm going to work on this duplicated layer, which is still an image layer. So I do need to make this a pixel layer. So if I click on the second icon from the right at the top of the layers panel and then click on rasterize, that will change that to a pixel layer, so I can now make selections from it. So I'm going to go back to the selection persona, and I'm going to use the freehand tool, and it's the fourth one down on the left, and when I click on that, the context menu at the bottom is by default is set on freehand, but I'm going to change that to polygonal to make the selection, because it's going to be fairly straight. I'm not going to do anything really fancy, because I'm just going to select the road, so it's got very nice straight lines for me to work with. So I'm just going to click a start point right on the left of the image, as close to the edge as I can get, and just on the edge of the road. So I'll click there, and then click once into the distance where the road reaches that distance, and then just come over slightly and then back down to the right hand side of the road, and then I'll click outside the image and continue clicking outside the image, going back round and coming back to my start position. And then that will then, once they've joined back up, it will make a selection area with those white dotted lines going around the selected area. Now, I personally have had a bit of trouble sort of making a selection layer from what I have selected, because if I where is it, the menu? If I come to this menu here, I thought there might be sort of duplicate the selected area, and I've yet to work out how to do it that way. What I've had to do is come back to the photo persona and then come to the pasteboard and click copy, and then come back to the pasteboard. If I had the right menu, and then select paste, and if I turn off that layer there, as you can see, I've got just the road on a new layer. So if I come back to the selection persona, I can use deselect to get rid of those white dots, which are sometimes known as marching ants. But that is, I now have this road on its own layer, so I can work on that individually. So I'm going to come back to the pixel persona, photo persona. Let me turn this background back on, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a curves layer adjustment. So I'm going to come to the adjustments, and as you can see, there's curves. It's about the fifth one down. I will click on that to bring up the curves options, which are along the bottom here. But before I do that, I'm going to just say that this curves adjustment has been added above the road layer, but because it is above the road layer and the sort of main background image, it will affect both of them equally. I need this to be a child layer of just the road layer. So I'm going to click and hold the icon for this, drag it down until I get a blue line going through the road layer, and then let go, and then that will be a child layer of just that road layer. So any adjustments I make now will only affect the road layer. So let me just bring up the curves, and then I'm just going to darken this down and yes, I think that will do for me there. So if I turn that off and on, as you can see, I'm just affecting the road. Now, I didn't use refine when I made the selection because it was fairly straight lines and I wasn't overly worried. It's just a very quick look at the selection persona. I mean, we can look at refine at a later date. So what I can also do now is, if I highlight the background layer and I add an adjustment to this, I mean, we'll go with curves again. Come back to the layers menu. Now this has put this just above the pixel background layer, but this will affect the whole image that is underneath the road layer. The road layer will not be affected because it is above that, hopefully that makes sense. So if I make alterations to this now, as you can see, the road layer is being protected because it is above. So let's just make this a bit even darker. Let's go down there, and I'll then change the selection at the bottom where it's got channels. I will change that to red, and then we'll just try and boost a bit of red in the skies and on the grass, but again not affecting the road. So if let me shut that down, and if I highlight that and then turn both of those off, that was the original image, and that is the image now that I've made these alterations. So hopefully you can see, especially like me, you've moved or you've got the PC Mac version, you can see how it compares using a selection persona rather than a selection menu. It takes a little bit of getting used to, and I'm still learning it myself, but hopefully that will help some people out. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.